What's happening, everyone? Before this next leg of podcast show starts, this is a reminder to you not to be a minge bag. Go over to Patreon, sign up for £1 a week and take advantage of all the Patreon perks. It is the Patreon that pays. We have a betting show on a Saturday, which the postman here is picking winners every single week.
Yeah, the betting show comes out Saturday mornings, covers UFC and boxing, footy when we're in the footy season. But yeah, we're winning on a weekly basis. I can't remember the last week we didn't find some sort of winner. So yeah, as Andy says, don't be a minge bag, come and get involved. And as I say, it's one of the best communities that you could be a part of, isn't it?
It's a belter. As well as the betting show on a Wednesday, me and Gerrard have a chat. That's where you might have seen on our Insta Reels about crocs, about harpooning people at the end of the night, all that kind of chat that goes on. And even better, every single Wednesday we do a raffle draw, and our sponsors Montrex give £100 gift voucher away just for being on Patreon. No better time to join. There's 30 plus episodes already that you can go back and watch. Again, no better time. Get involved. Don't be a minge bag. £1 a week, and we'll see you there. What's happening, everyone? It's the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant.
It's me, Jordan Neild.
And for those who are listening, you may hear a voice that you've not heard before. We have got my favourite Neild.
John Neild.
Jordan's younger brother Jamie is in the studio, so you might not see him on the cameras, but he might be chirping in now and again. So nice one, Jay.
Up the toffees.
First and foremost, for all you non-minge bags who are on Patreon, we paid out on the fancy football this week.
Did. The winner is,
drum roll.
Yeah, can you do a drum roll? I can't. It's proper hard.
He's won about 250 quid. I can't remember the exact amounts, but...
Yeah. But the winner is...
It was a right few quid, and I fuming because I meant to put Haaland as captain.
Yeah. You were close. Jamie was close. The winner was Scott Kenny on 87 points.
So Scott, get in touch, drop us a message, and I'll fire that dough over this week, lad.
You are manager of the month. Well done.
Well done. Again, massive shout out to all our sponsors. Montrex, again, we give away £100 every single week if you're on Patreon. £100 gift voucher. We've got their clothing for all your decent clobber, and also... What was the best scran I've just had then? Very hot, but it was lovely.
Hot.
Health Kick Kitchen, providing the boys with the scran. Honestly, the food is a belter. Super healthy, dead tasty. And get involved. You get 10% off. Again, all the links are in the bio. So go and support all our sponsors, all Scouse firms. Get involved.
Let's go.
Where do you want to start?
I know where we should start.
Come on.
You getting levered by Emma Raducanu. That's exactly where we should start.
Okay, well, I feel I'm getting branded a bit like Piers Morgan here, do you know what I mean? Having a go at a kid. It's not like that at all.
By the way, what you're justifying now, just keep in your mind when we talk about Liverpool and Harvey Elliott, okay?
Okay.
So then, yeah, but let's go.
So the news, what Jordan is on about there, is obviously for the fans of the Sportscast. All I have said...
She's terrible.
No, I did not say that at all, lad. I said she's just been... bumped up the ratings and the rankings far too quick. She's been elevated to this stardom that I don't think one win at a US Open justifies. That's all I said.
Look, I think it's fair what you're saying.
But people aren't happy with they think that's the running joke. I keep on bashing Emma Raducanu. I'm not. I just think she's young. She's obviously super talented, and hopefully she will go on to do well. However, my argument all year has been she's going into matches as pre-tournament favourites and that. I'm like, fucking no chance.
Yeah.
She was 100 in the world or something, went up to 11th. Doesn't happen like that, I'm sorry. So anyway, the US Open kicked off, and funny old thing, she got beat first round. That's not... I'm not being horrible, that's just what happened.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
And she's come out and she said, you know what, I think she was actually made up. She said it's a clean slate now. You know, a year ago, that's where she kind of got put on a pedestal. A year later, she's been, knocked off it.
But the reason I wanted to bring it up first, because not to talk about a first round loss because we don't want to, but on Patreon we put a post out where people can get involved with the Sportcast and ask questions, and Blake Heath didn't ask a question, he wrote 2 paragraphs to you.
I've not seen all this.
He wrote 2 paragraphs. I'm going to read it all out, so bear with me.
Wow.
So it starts saying, no doubt Andy will have a lot to say following Raducanu's first round loss, although he can't really comment if he didn't watch the match and she was drawn a very tough first round. Media seriously need to get off her back. She's 19 and a slam champion, ! She's got everything in her game to be a multiple slam champion as well, but she needs time. She's only 19. What she done isn't normal, and it's been less than a year since she won it. Give her some time to get the right coach. I mean, She's had about 15.
That's debatable.
And to learn to deal with the expectation, the weight on her shoulders, etc. Judge her in a few years, it's far too early to judge her now. Then again, he did say Andy Murray isn't a tennis great.
I said he's not in the top 10.
And called him a nearly man. If you've only started watching tennis recently, Andy, how can you be so sure that he isn't a tennis great?
I didn't say he's not. He's a good tennis player. He's not a great, no.
Let Blake have his moment. The only man to win 46 career titles, including the US Open, Wimbledon twice, as well as becoming world #1 and 2-time Olympic champion. All whilst the 3 greatest ever players were at their peak. He's the 4th greatest of this generation without question, and is easily, in caps, in the top 10 of all time. It isn't normal to win 20 slams. Nadal, Federer and Djokovic are all freaks. The greatest players the sport has ever seen, and Andy Murray was part of the big 4 with them at his peak, and he was equal to them. Any other era, he'd be the best of that generation. He's been unlucky being in the hardest tennis era of all time. As well as all the injuries he's faced, he's still competing at the highest level now, and the man has a metal hip, playing the most physical sport against the very best. Put some respect on the man's name. He isn't just a tennis great, he's a sporting great, a sporting icon, double exclamation mark,
stretching it a bit, and
one of the greatest sportsmen Britain has ever seen. Sorry for the rant, keep up the good work, Jord. Andy's a knob.
Is that what it says?
No,
it doesn't say
that. No, he didn't. The rest of it was true.
Listen, fair points. I don't agree with all of them, but yeah, that's what sport's about. It's about debates, right? Now, Andy Murray, yeah, if we're going to say he's a great tennis player, right, then give me another adjective to describe Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, Sampras, fucking all them.
I think Andy Murray's better than Sampras 1. Just from, we've had this conversation before, but I'm just saying, Djokovic, Nadal and Federer are elite.
Okay.
Andy Murray is great, and I do agree with that. And it's like boxing, you can be a world champion without being an elite fighter.
I know, but I feel like you can't say anyone is, and then it's as if I'm slagging them. I'm not slagging them. They are, you know, good, great tennis players, whatever you want to describe them as. But this whole top 10 ever, no chance. Murray is not in the top 10 ever.
I'm all over.
I'm sorry.
He is, lad.
What do you reckon, Jay?
I'm a big Murray fan, like.
It's a simple question. Is he in your top 10 ever? Yes or no?
Yeah.
He's not. Anyway.
It's a vendetta you've got.
Just behind Pat.
Lad, I've met his ma. I've drank Pims with his ma, and that fella off Strictly Come Dancing. I like Murray myself. He seems like a nice fella, but he's not in the top 10. And the other thing about Emma Raducanu, listen, why would I not want her to do well? I've got no vendetta against her. I'm just saying, too much too soon for her. The pressure's been too much for her. She's crumbled on it, unfortunately. Hope to fucking God she bounces back. But don't think she's as great as everyone says she is.
I reckon you and Blake get on the court.
Settle it over him.
But listen, sport's about opinions, and unfortunately she got beaten in the first round. But like I say, she's come out and said it's a clean slate, and hopefully she can move on. Andy Murray, mentioning him, he's just advanced into the 3rd round.
Come back to those.
So he's doing all right.
Did you see Serena?
Yeah,
mate. I was Nick Stein.
So what was interesting is she's come out and said, hasn't she, that she's retired at the US Open. Yeah. Now that she's just knocked out the number 2 seed, she's a bit like,
we go again.
We go again.
One last dance.
Yeah, she's 40 years of age.
She is, oh my God.
27-year tennis career she's had.
Did you see what she was just like, I want to retire and just become a mum. She's the most, I've said it loads of times, she's the most impressive athlete I've ever seen in my life.
100%, yeah.
She's not human.
Yeah, she's come out and said, I'm still here for the time being, just enjoying it. Listen,
sport would be a worse place without her, mate.
The second she gets beat, she'll be like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm out. Didn't want to win anyway.
But the other news with her as well, her and her sister Serena are going to headline
Venus.
Thursday's Venus, sorry, are going to headline the doubles. It's going to be the doubles draw. You know, between them, right, they've won Olympic gold in doubles as well as 14 Grand Slams. I mean, that's an impressive sibling. What the fuck do you used to do, eh?
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Isn't it though? It does make you think, doesn't it? Fucking hell. Sorry, Mum.
Yeah. I mean, that is one impressive bloodline. That
We used to have some scraps in the gardens, as though.
Yeah, we did bare knuckle.
So yeah, decent start to the for the old US Open.
Yeah.
Hopefully Murray can go far in it.
Good luck to him.
That's for me on the tennis.
Can we get into my favourite sport, golf?
Golf, fucking hell. So
this SPORTCAST started basically talking about footy, Slate and Everton, and talking about boxing and MMA. that last April, that's all we did.
Yeah.
Bit of horse racing.
There you go. That's how much we've grown and evolved, people.
And now golf is by far my favourite drama, right up there with Coddy.
So it's Cameron Smith, innit? That's the fucking headline, innit? He was for a while saying, like, you know, don't want to talk about it. It's not up for me. I'm here to win golf tournaments. I've just won a major. Why are you asking me this? And then, funny old thing, a few months later, he's fucking signed that check.
See what he said as well. He was like, it's unfair that you're not going to let us play in the majors.
He's come out and had the balls to say that.
He said you got to let us in.
You know what I think the funniest bit about it is, right? He got asked about it and he said to in an interview with Golf Digest, money was definitely a factor in making a decision. What other factor was it? I really want to play for them people who fucking behead journalists when they don't, you know, that was the factor. That obviously the fucking money was the factor.
Fucking mad, innit? It's mad. It's like, the funniest thing for me is Rory McIlroy. Not so much Tiger, because I guess what he's doing.
Yeah, I feel a bit ass on Rory.
Have you seen the gif of Roy Hodgson at the Euros where he's like trying to tell us everyone? So Rory at the next event, he's going to everyone.
Well, he's got the thing now. He's come out and he said, I hate what it's doing to the game of golf. It's going to be hard for me to stomach going to Wentworth in a couple of weeks' time and seeing 18 of them there. That just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
And you can get it, can't you?
Yeah. He won a big old pot the other day, though, didn't he? That FedEx Cup or whatever it is.
18 mil, isn't it?
18 mil.
He won McIlroy won 18 mil.
Yeah. He won I think don't know whether it was boosted because of that, but yeah,
well, I think the PGA have upped the game, haven't they?
Won the first ever player to win the FedEx Cup 3 times.
How does this get fixed? Because we're here every week now just saying how much of a farce.
I just hope it carries on, lad. It's fucking hilarious. It's not like I get why people are annoyed at it, but I just love how each player comes up with a new reason why like it's right for them.
Yeah. You know, at first it was the scheduling.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Then it was
test myself.
Yeah, test myself, yeah. Then it was I want more time off to be with my friends and family.
At least Cameron Smith just said it.
Yeah, he's got money. Money's the factor, the only factor.
If you got offered this money, you'd be going to.
If you got offered, Jay, to go and ride out in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
you go, yeah.
It's different, like, because the lifestyle and stuff, but I know loads of the lads who their careers are kind of not stalling a bit in the UK, and they go out to Hong Kong, and you know, Harry Bentley's just done it recently, and I think he's earned over £1 million, I think. Okay,
well, here's one for you then. You go to Saudi, and rather than jump over fences and hurdles, you're jumping over all the gay dead people that they've beheaded. They're the fences. Well, that's essentially though what we're doing, isn't it?
Sorry, must.
I'd say how much.
Obrigado.
That was a very crass joke, but essentially though, that's fucking what it is.
Yeah, I get it. But it's like I've said all the time. It's not on. It's like I was listening to a journalist talk about the experience of being over there for Joshua Youssef, and he basically said it was pretty horrendous. He's like, it's not a place you really want to, as a Western, I don't know what you want to, member of the Western population, it's not a place you really want to go. Obviously, it's a dry country. There's not really much going on. It's not really like, you know, it doesn't appeal much. But for me, it's not a, like, I don't mind Joshua, you know, Fiore and Youssef are going to take the money as well. Like, it's not on sports people to hold up everyone else's human rights. It's on the people at the top. If they don't, if you really don't care about it, then don't do business with Saudi. Don't even let it be an option.
No, I agree. It's just
any sports person who's going, they have two objectives, obviously: win as much as they can and earn as much as they can. It's not on them to, like, you know, be making the moral right choice for everybody else. In my opinion, like, it's not. You can't look at them to make the right decisions. And
how much did he sign for then, Cameron?
Oh, I don't know, something crazy. I don't know actually the actual. I don't think the actual figure will ever be reported, will it? Like, I know they said they offered Tiger Woods like 750, didn't he? But like, you don't know how true that is.
I want to know the business model. How they're generating that much money for what?
Yeah, it's just a different world, isn't it? Look, Eddie's just signed. Obviously, it's a different place, but Eddie's just signed a long-term deal with Abu Dhabi, hasn't he? Eddie in boxing, brokered by Dana White in the UFC, who has also already done it. They want to bring the Abu Dhabi, especially, will be the hub of sport in the next 5 years.
Saudi have done it in racing now, with that 20 million race now, that Mishrif one. Like, they built a race course for it and everything, and people are always going to go over there, and money talk.
Mate, Saudi, I don't know how they're going to do it, but if they ever introduce a thing where fans can go and drink alcohol, mate, they'll take over. That's the only... I know it's stupid, but that is the only thing holding it back.
The reason that they don't at the moment is because of religion. Is that the only reason you can't?
It's their culture, isn't it? But I mean, I think if they opened up the country to like, I would imagine people don't go to certain events because they can't.
Because they might be gay. You might get killed.
Exactly, but
that might be one reason.
I know, but it's just there's no stopping it, is there? Do you know what I mean? It's like, if it's going to get stopped, it's at a government level, not at a sport and athletes level.
I do agree. It's politics in it rather than sport. Other sport, I know you're a big fan of it, Jamie. The F1. Big Max fan. What's the bet that you guys have got?
I give our Jamie 4-1 odds with a minimum bet of £100 that Mercedes would win one single race this year.
Wow.
They still haven't. Yeah, he's trying to get me to cash out the other day.
Cash out now.
What's we cash out?
He said we're going out Saturday. Do you want to cash out? But
buy a round.
You can't stop, Mike. You know my opinion on Max. You can't. But like, his driving's just next level.
What do you think, Jay, on the old? Because you've probably heard Jordan say that, you know, respect him as a driver. He's great, but he's just a bit boring.
I quite like him as a person. I think that's... I kind of was late getting into the F1 really, and then since I got into it, love it. Like, I watched that thing on Netflix, like I think a lot of people did, and I warmed to Max straight away. I quite like. I like how much belief he has in himself. Like, for a young kid coming through, he doesn't give a fuck really, does he?
No.
And I think them elite sportsmen, they got to be like that. I think, and I watch clips on him, and he seems. And I watched the podcast actually on one of his team. And they say he's one of the nicest guys you can meet. Like, I know they've got to say that, but he say genuinely, it's not just cameras. He actually makes an effort to come round and check everyone's all right, and that, what I mean. So
he's like Haaland. He's just born and formed to do what he's doing
in a lab.
Do you know what I mean?
I think his half fellow is like.
He was a driver as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. But as soon as he was born, everything was manoeuvred to do this. But I mean, that's the last time we're mentioning Haaland this week. For any Man City fans.
Well, Max has got his homecoming this weekend, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Interestingly,
it looks like quite a good circuit for the likes of Ferrari and stuff, but I think Red Bull are too far ahead now, personally. But you know, I just need Hamilton or Russell to land on one.
I don't think they will, you know.
No, I don't know. But we're here, we're going for it. But have you seen? Obviously, Daniel Ricciardo left McLaren, didn't he? Which is probably the right decision.
A few things we can say about it. He just looked like a different person. They've said that, and his confidence is shot, and just like.
But I think obviously the repercussions of him leaving was to obviously bring this Oscar Piastri in, or Piastri, whatever you mentioned, they say his name. But now he obviously had agreed to go to Alpine, hadn't he, when they done the announcements. That's going to like a board, you know, this whole dispute.
Or when he said he signed and he went, no, I haven't.
I believe he wants to join McLaren, but he sort of he'd signed a contract to go to Alpine. But now I think it's getting a little bit
messy.
Yeah, I think they call it the contract recognition board. So they've got to go through it all, but it's tough. Like, but they say Alpine said he signed back in November. He agreed in November to go to them.
And he's just conveniently forgot about it.
And then McLaren have gone, Ricciardo's leaving, probably back to Alpine. Do you want to come here for obviously more dough, I imagine? It's a bit horrible, isn't it? But the thing with Daniel Ricciardo, I love him, and you know, McLaren is the team that I want to do well. But it must be so hard to like know you're leaving, and then you got the rest of the season to drive and give your all. But it's not like you're playing in a footy team and it's about running. You're risking your life, literally. Do you know what I mean? For a team that you're not even going to be with next year. It's mad.
The other thing as well, there was so when was the Belgian Grand Prix? Was that midweek, was it?
No, last week.
Last weekend, because there was a bit of back and forth with Hamilton and Alonso. Got called an idiot.
Yeah. To be fair, what the point Alonso made was quite good. He said Hamilton doesn't know how to drive in the pack because he's been out front so much. When he's there, obviously there's a different way. You have got to avoid people, haven't you? Within racing limits, and I think Hamilton is obviously he's pedal to the metal, isn't he? Still to this day, but I'm looking forward to it this weekend. The Dutch Grand Prix, even though it's just a sea of orange. I know.
I'm made up for Max. Like I say, I'm like your Jay. I'm a bit of a fan of him. So
I think we someone messaged me actually when I said he was the best driver on the grid, and you're like, you're forgetting there's a 7-time world champion on there with Hamilton. But I do think he's the best driver. I just think he's vanilla as fuck.
What he did on the weekend, though, to come from 16th to win it by about 12 seconds or something, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Red Bull, as much as they are the Man United of F1, they're just, the league's red at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah. Do you want to got obviously a big weekend of boxing? Do you want to go there or the footy or the UFC?
No, I reckon we go footy. Give footy the time it deserves. We got a big weekend of boxing, UFC, and then we'll round off with some Sportcast questions.
Okay, so it's actually good having a blue nose in today, actually, Jay, because you can shine some light on what's going on there. But before we do, I'll just whiz through some crazy transfers. This just fucking seems to be everyone's getting signed. So Liverpool looks like they're going to be getting a loan move in for Juve midfielder Arthur Melo. I seen he was at Melwood before, so it looks like it will be done by the time the show comes out. Loan move, do you reckon, for the season, so they can buy Bellingham next season, if you believe the reports?
I was Bellingham, mate. I'll be going, whoa.
What I thought was interesting, and it's so great the internet is, I quickly copied his name, put it into Google, went on his Wikipedia page, and he's a versatile midfielder, capable of playing as a deep-lying playmaker, central midfielder, or box-to-box, blah, blah, blah. During his time at Barcelona, however, he came under criticism from Luis Suarez, among others, for his positional play and for his apparent reluctance to pass the ball in the direction that the offensive team was trying to move forwards, namely the opposition's goal. So Suarez didn't like him at Barca. Bit of a
to be fair though, you can enter, like, you could go, I could make a Wikipedia for you and write anything.
Yeah, listen, take it's like the whole YouTube fucking reel, isn't it? I mean, take of it what you will, but
I don't know how good he is, but I wouldn't believe that. But I mean, at the minute, I'd have pretty much took anyone.
Yeah.
Just for cover, because we were at the game last night. Obviously last night, and it was just I know it ended in a great, like, fanfare, but it was awful.
It wasn't great.
It was awful for 90 minutes, wasn't it? It was
no, they just seem like a different team, Liverpool. I don't think Trent has played well any point this season.
No. Robertson.
Robbo doesn't look great. Virgil looks a different player. I think that they shouldn't be relying on Bobby so much. I know there's a couple of injuries there, but
yeah.
The fact Milner's coming on now as well, you know, seemingly every game. I don't know. It's just
Robertson's like, I don't like Van Dijk's form, but I also see that he's the best centre half in the world. He'll turn it around. He'll play well again. Kind of feel the same about Trent, even though, even when we were flying, I was flagging up his defensive frailties.
Oh, it's defensive.
But I think now he's not producing much going forward. It's just highlighted. But I think he'll turn. Robertson's the worry for me. He's starting to look like someone who we bought for 7 mil from Hull.
That's a bit harsh, like.
Laddie, right now he does.
You could argue that about Trent, though.
You could, but like I honestly think, although when he come on last night he was disastrous, I think that Simcast is not far from starting. Genuinely, he comes on every game. Which with that bad?
Well, I think that's the problem, though, is that we've not played well, and one of the reasons we did play so well for so many years was because of Trent and Robbo were just on fire, and the fact that their performances have dropped, I think it's just like a genius to work out that our form's dropped as well.
What the frustrating thing for me is, though, that you can't criticise them, because like they've been flying for whatever 4 or 5 years, and they have, but that's the standards they set for themselves. You have to be held to them.
Yeah.
Well, you can't just go, oh, he's playing crap, but he played boss last year.
No,
You can do that in Sunday League.
It just gives them more of it gives them more of a chance to prove it wrong.
I'm not saying like again. Sell him, get rid of him, but like if you watch that game honestly, without Liverpool like rose tinted glass on, he was terrible. So was, I think Elliott played quite well.
I thought Elliott was man of the match.
But I mean, Fabinho looked slow. Henderson looked very, very slow. Firmino scored, but I'd point in the game where he was giving the ball away. Salah, I mean, and I thought Diaz played okay, but not like didn't set the world. Like played okay, but then Salah can't even control it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I think you're a bit harsh, but I agree mostly. But
who in that team apart from Elliott and?
I thought Elliott and Diaz were okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'd say.
All right. Well, if they're good at home to Newcastle, sound.
Yeah.
Everyone else.
I also think Newcastle have come on leaps and bounds from the team last season as well.
I do, but we still should be beating them.
Yeah, we should. We mentioned Emma Raducanu. You've got a little bit of a thing for Elliott.
I haven't.
I thought he was brilliant yesterday.
I thought he was good. The thing what I'm saying about
Elliott,
Elliott,
man of the match, I think.
Yeah, sound. It should have been Carvalho. Carvalho should play.
He was on the pitch for 5 minutes.
Yeah, for the volley though, didn't he? That's what the thing with Elliott is. I think he's got all the talent in the world. I think he was really good last night. In the context of Liverpool.
He's gone from okay, but now he's really
in the
good.
Context of everyone else around him, thought he played well. But like, there's nothing there yet that I'm going. He's going to be this like. He's going to carry Liverpool. He's going to play for Liverpool for years and years.
No, I think he will, lad.
Because he's playing, but there has to be end product there. Do you know what I mean?
He's done well, lad. When you look back, he's done well.
But is that enough to play okay against Newcastle?
when the fact none of them are playing well, or when he's playing better than all of them.
What would you say was a success for Elliott at the end of the season in terms of numbers?
I think he wants to be playing 25, 30 games this season.
He's got to have a decent number of assists and goals, though. That's his job.
Yeah.
And he's got 1 goal in a 9-0 rout of Bournemouth. I know it's early days, but that's all I was saying, is you have to have results on top of the promise. And if he does that, then yeah, he's going to be one of the best players in the league in terms of his actual raw ability.
Yeah.
But he has to produce.
I just think it's promising having him and Carvalho, mate. It's good signs.
I'll play Carvalho on the weekend against Everton.
Yeah. Should we touch on Everton then as well? So, signings wise for you boys, have you what's been happening on the rumour mill for the last day?
We've got Rondon, lad, not matters. You're arguing over 2 young kids and we have to watch fucking Rondon every weekend.
Would you have got rid of Gordon?
For the right money and players, probably. We're on a position, and I mean, if there was talks of money plus Gallagher and Brozier, it's a no-brainer in the position we're in, and I mean, you can't we relied on him too much last year. If he gets injured, it's struggling, and I mean, looks now like it's a bit of light at the tunnel. We're signing a few players, but if that, I don't know what is going on with the board. I think even Lampard touched on in an interview the other day that hopefully it's a bit of a thing for them to notice that you can't leave it till 4 or 5 games into the season to start signing players, you know what I mean? Come the end of the season, if we're still down there, you might look back at that and think we got a win or 2 there and we had the right players, we might
I honestly thought you would have went down, you know, up until you signed Cody, you signed that Nan, and I thought actually, nah, you know what, they'll be alright.
Defensively, Everton have improved loads, and I think he probably needs a bit of credit for that, Lampard, like because. But it's not so much they brought in like class centre halves or whatever, like world class. It's just attitude. It's just like
I think experience as well.
But like they want. I seen against Leeds the other day, Patterson. I don't know. He got back to block a cross or something. And for Cody and Tarkowski as the centre halves, it was like a goal. They were made. And last year, Everton were just dead passive. It would go in and like Michael Keane would go. Oh. Do you know what I mean?
I think Lampard. I'm a big fan of Lampard really, because in reality, although we're a big club and everyone wants us to be challenging for Europa and stuff like that, the reality check is we're in a relegation battle. And that's what team we are, I mean. And you can't expect us to come out in a season and be up there in Europe. But I think what Lampard deserves credit for is players like Iwobi, even Holgate, who I've been the most critical on them too, you know what I mean? Look like different players under Lampard. And he must be doing something to give them confidence or something. I mean, and even like Gordon now is adding goals to his game, looks more clinical in front of goal.
Where would you say is a successful season finishing?
If we're top half of the table, that's unbelievable in my eyes.
Yeah.
But as long as we're out of a relegation battle and comfortable, you know what I mean? It's like a starter. We look like a better team now. Even these draws, I know you can look at it 2 ways, whether we give away 3 points but last season we get beat there. Even once they equalised, they probably go and get another, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or the season before, you know what I mean? I think the whole mentality of the team's changed and it's going in the right direction, I reckon, anyway.
Yeah. That James Garner's a good sign from the one who was at Forest last year. Because I know Forest wanted him and then they signed loads of players and then he didn't want to go into there, apparently. But he should be playing for Man United. Genuinely should be. And he's like obviously going into Everton's midfield for 14 million in the modern day. That from 14 million is, to me, if you're getting a player for that price, you're on a good deal in the modern market, because crap players are going for 30.
I mean, crap, well, not crap, but like
crap in context.
That Anthony for Man United gone for what
82 million.
What the fuck is wrong with like the?
Do you know United have got a buyback clause on that Gardner, so they obviously don't think he's.
I think they wanted to keep him, but he didn't want to play second fiddle or whatever.
Just before we move off from Everton, could Everton have won actually this season? Yeah.
No.
That's what I'm a little bit concerned with the derby this weekend. You know, like.
I just think it's going to be very close.
We're playing not that great.
I think form goes out the window. You look at Liverpool United, you know what I mean? Everyone thought Liverpool might roll them, and form goes out the window, I think, in these games. Well,
I look at Everton now and think, for the first time in a good 2 years, even though I try to be as fair as I can with Everton, I reckon Liverpool going there knowing there's going to be a fight. They're not going to just Like, I remember the goal, the goal the other year, we sort of like, I think it was just a ball down the side and Salah just ran in, just got, like, everything was dead easy, doing any tackles. The only tackles Everton have thrown in the last couple of years was like Barkley's one where he stood on somebody. There's not actually been any fight or passion for a long time. I think
they got a bunch of, it looks like a bunch of kids now. I know they got a few older lads like Tarkowski and Cody, you know, but they got a few kids now who are genuinely fearless, you know what I mean? Yeah. Genuinely believe they can take on anyone like that. Onana looks a bit of a Rolls Royce player, you know what I mean? Gordon will run at anyone. Iwobi looks comfortable, you know what I mean? Then Patterson, that young kid at right back, looks like he'd run at anyone. It's just, I think they've got a whole shift in mentality which is going to hopefully get them points for the year.
But I think that shift in mentality, totally agree, that when it comes to the derby this weekend, I think it'll just be a case of, though Everton might be good defensively, but I can't see them scoring. I think it'll be a case of they either hold out for a draw or Liverpool might nick it if they find the shooting boots. I can't see. Yeah,
I see a 0-0.
I just think the only thing we probably got going for us is you look a bit shaky at the back, and we've been alright on that counter attack, you know what I mean? And if they can nick an early one and then just, you know, hopefully Goodison kind of roll them home.
Yeah.
I think an early goal is vital, I think, for Everton anyway.
Interesting.
Are you nervous about the derby?
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. And if I'm betting wise, it'd be like a double chance Liverpool or the draw. I don't think Everton will win, but I wouldn't back us with any confidence to get 3 points.
Right. How long till we have to talk about the fucking lad boy up front for Man City?
Let's talk about him now. Sitting next to you on the cop watching Liverpool play shite, and then I just get notifications on Flash Score. Haaland's got a hat-trick in 35 minutes. I mean,
what are we going to do about him?
It's heavy, isn't he, like?
And we've got fucking Andy Carroll regen sitting on the bench.
2.0.
Have Rondon if you want.
I'd swap him.
I put a tweet out yesterday because I was that pissed off at the match going, poor performance, can't believe he hasn't started Nunez. It took 30 seconds for someone to bite and go, he's suspended, mate, he's back at the weekend.
Obviously we're going to, just to finish off on Liverpool because we'd missed it. Do you think he plays on the weekend, that Nunez?
He's going to have to, isn't he?
Do you think there'll be any talks of Everton targeting him?
100%.
He's got a bit of a...
100%.
Cody and Tarkowski are going to be sat there going, we want him to play.
And they are a bit sly, you know what I mean? He might...
Even maybe I think he'll definitely feature. He might not start. He maybe get half an hour at the end or something, maybe. But I can also see fucking them winding him up, which I would do. Do you know what I mean?
If he comes on and scores, though, all forgotten, kick on, get after Haaland.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's the worry that I've got with Nunez now. He's under pressure now because of what he done. Everything's going to be looked at. Everything.
I wonder if he's looking at Haaland as well.
Yeah, everyone's comparing them in the Community Shield. Everyone's comparing Nunez and Haaland. It's going to be all year. So I think the more Haaland keeps banging, I think Nunez might, unless he starts banging himself, you never know. But could be a lot of pressure.
It's a big. I mean, Haaland is just. I've never seen, and I genuinely mean this, even like Van Nistelrooy, I've never seen a more natural goal scorer in my life. I
just think it's his
he can score every goal.
His physical attributes are just mad. Even when he runs, it's mad. Like how hard he hits the ball is like.
That goal on the weekend where that centre half, he just launched him with one hand.
He just got hold of him.
He lay down on the floor. It's mad.
I know I do joke and say he's made in a lab, but if you could build a striker, he's quick, he's strong, he can hit it off both feet, he can head, he's not scared to get in a fight, he's calm. It's like...
Not only that, City bring him off on 60 minutes, replace him with the other one, he scores too.
Lad. I mean, if City don't win the league this year, I will be absolutely astounded, and I said that at the start of the season.
I think this could be the season they win the Champions League.
If they do the league and Champions League, mate, oh my God, it's going to be relentless, isn't it?
If they don't, when else are they going to win it? Who else can they add to that team?
If they don't win the Champions League this year, I think it'll be one, celebrated by Liverpool fans, but I think two, serious questions will be asked because that team is perfect.
Yeah.
Defensively, maybe on a touch frail, but that's about it.
One, giving them a run for the money, at least in the early start anyway. I thought Arsenal started really well. Yeah. Obviously won all 5. And an Arsenal reject, Aubameyang, could be going to Chelsea.
Snapped his jaw, didn't he?
Has he?
Yeah.
Got bageled, didn't he?
Yeah, got bageled. Which filled in, snapped his jaw.
So that's his transfer off now,
No, he's the same. They're still going ahead with it.
Even with a cracked jaw?
Game.
3 weeks off he's got.
Yeah.
What Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make about that sign. Obviously, they brought Fofana in as well, haven't they? They're signing somebody else. And
Yeah, that's...
Aubameyang on a 3-year deal at 33 is a bit mad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's plus Alonso, isn't it? Alonso going the other way.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad thing, because he's just fucking carnage, isn't he, Alonso?
Sorry, as well, we just mentioned City then. They've also signed the defender Akanji for 15 mil.
Yeah.
Like you've just mentioned it then, those signings though, you know, when they're only like 15, 20 mil, they're, I think, the ones you think could be shrewd though. Because there's so much pressure that comes when there's 60, 70, 80 million, you think, fucking hell am I getting here? When you get a defender 15 mil, a couple of years down the line, you're like, fucking hell, where's he come from?
That Alvarez is in the perfect position. He come into City, Pep clearly rates him, but he's playing second fiddle to Haaland, coming on though, because they take Haaland off to protect him injury-wise.
Yeah.
And he just keeps slotting. It's like the perfect role, isn't he? He knows he's going to be the main man at some point or whatever. But talking of main men, my main man growing up, Stevie's in a bit of trouble, isn't he?
And he's facing big fucking Erling this weekend as well.
Do you reckon he might get in the blower and just say, lad, like, did you like me or anything when I was playing? Any chance? They're just like just laying offers.
Yeah, so the R5 kick-off on Saturday's City are away to Villa.
He's evens to go, Stevie.
Is he? Just shows you, doesn't it? Though, like it's not a kind of you're a legend in the footballing world as
Doesn't
a player.
Translate, man.
Does not translate. It'd be harsh that if you go. I mean, I can see why the pressure's mounting and all that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's more expensive. They have spent money. I've just seen they've just. To be fair though, I don't know whether they've, agreed to keep him or something, because they've just signed that Den Donker one from Wolves, centre mid. So I mean, would they be investing if they knew Stevie was leaving?
I think from what I've read, he's got good owners there at Villa. Do you know what I mean? So
that Christian Perslow's involved somehow, isn't he? He used to be at Liverpool.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, but I mean, unless they're going to give him a chance, but yeah, I think I wouldn't like to see him leave, but
results need to start.
Maybe they've just
in,
said, get through the City game, hopefully don't get tonked, and then you've got 5 games or something for it to improve on that side. Because I mean, going into Arsenal City, what are Villa expecting anyway?
Well, it's the similar thing for Bournemouth. Scott Parker.
Yeah.
Do you think that was harsh, him getting sacked?
Yeah, I do. 9-0 at Anfield, like.
And he their first 4 fixtures, wherever you look at it, you probably would have thought no points, and he'd come away with 3 points. So
yeah, he beat Villa, didn't he?
I don't know what they're expecting.
I think something's gone on there though.
What's happened is he's come out after the match and slagged the owners off.
I think that's
and I seen a great one with your best mate Simon Jordan on TalkSport, and he made a great argument. So everyone, which I thought myself was quite harsh for Scott Parker to get the sack, and then I listened to what Simon Jordan had to say, and I was a bit more actually like,
that's why they put him on.
Now he deserves it.
If it was a business or whatever.
Well, he's a clever man, and he said, right, look, so I own the club, right? My club, you are the manager, right? I'm paying you to manage the team, right? You might have said to me in the boardroom, right, boss, I need Mr. Chairman, I need money. And I went, listen, there's no money there until January. Let's just see where we get to in January, then I might give you, there's been a personal conversation. He's then took that and said, well, I've got no money, we need to do this, need to do that. You don't know what's got said behind closed doors. Now, that's very disrespectful to do to your boss, would you not say?
No, not in that sense.
Okay, then, so I was hoping you'd say that. So, let's say now you are the manager. So I'm the chairman, you're the manager. There's your star striker. Mr. Jamie Neal, right? Used to have
no pace.
used to have a little personal talk, and you say, right, Jay, I want you to start from the wing, right? Cut inside. Post-match interview, someone goes, Jay, you're not getting many chances. He's going, I know, yeah, 'cause I'm getting told to stand on the side. It's fucking pointless. I don't do that. It's fucking, don't know why I'm doing it. It's stupid. He's undermining you. Would you fine him or keep him off the team the next week?
No, I'll just say if you don't like it, then sit on the bench.
So that's essentially what I've done too, haven't I?
No, but I haven't.
You don't like it, fuck off.
If you don't like it, get out the squad. You're gone, cut.
The point Simon Jordan was making is that there's got to be that respect there, and if you don't respect your boss, your manager, then what?
That's said with a man with the ego size of that massive frame over there, who used to run a football club. The problem he's got is, okay, you've sacked Scott Parker, you've got no money. What now? Who are you going to bring in?
I 100% get it, and again I do.
So it's short-sighted because
my
of his ego.
opinion is. No, it's experience. He's been there. He's been an owner. He knows what it's like. I do agree. It was extremely harsh. He's got beat by Liverpool, Villa, and City. You'd expect that every single season. He's beat Aston Villa. Yet the manner of the Liverpool defeat wasn't great. But yeah, I do think it's harsh. However, it was a bit stupid for him coming out and fucking slagging the owners.
If you make that stance, I know Simon Jordan's not the owner of Bournemouth, but if you go, right, I run this football club, nobody can say or do any actions that undermine me, and what my action is giving you no money and no chance to survive in the Premier League. But even given them circumstances, you don't say anything. You just respect the fact to give you a job and get on with it.
No, it's doing it publicly though.
Yeah, but what did he actually say? He said, I've had no investment in the team, so I sort of seen these results coming.
He said he's done it a few times, lad. I can't remember the exact words,
but they are the facts of it. They're gonna get tonked in games because they haven't got a squad that can compete in the Prem. It's not like he's got me chairman's an absolute, beat.
I know, but he kind of did, lad.
I've got no problem with it because they were the facts of the situation.
I just think that's a personal conversation. They've had a professional conversation behind closed doors, and he's come out and made him look like a bit of a twat, and the chairman just went, well, fuck you then. You know why you haven't. You know my reasons, and now you're coming out saying that. Dangerous
precedent to set though, because who's going in there now?
Well, yeah,
I wouldn't go in there if I was a manager.
But you know what? They got a draw last night, didn't they, against Wolves on a Wednesday? So maybe they're not as bad as they were.
No, they're not a terrible side. They'll pick up points at home. They'll play well at home, but they're gonna be on the end of a couple of irons. It's just gonna.
Well, they play Notts Forest this weekend, so that'll be interesting.
Game. They've started well. I'm enjoying watching Forest. 19 signings they've made. Mad.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. So yeah, the top three at the minute after 5 games: Arsenal, Man City, Spurs, Brighton, Liverpool.
Brighton also doing a pretty decent job.
And Everton just above the relegation, lads. I think Rodgers will go before Stevie.
I think,
talking about undermining people,
I think Arsenal have kind of set the tone. I think so. They'll give people like Lampard and Gerrard and that. I reckon that everyone will go off. Arsenal is shite, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they stuck by Arteta, and now everyone's saying they're great. So I think it's half give them young managers a chance to kind of ride out the storm a little bit. You know what I mean?
If you do that, that's the what I don't get in modern footy. If you just say Villa sack Steven Gerrard, I understand it. I understand it's footy, but all I would say if I was in the room is, all right, then what now? Who are we going for? Who's going to fix anything more than he was doing? And if you've got an answer, by the way, sound is right. I'll go with it. But I don't think there's a massive pool of managers at the moment.
Allardyce.
Yeah, exactly. But you're almost. I mean, Sean Dyche is obviously sitting waiting for any job. You've probably got the pick of whatever the first job that comes up. But I mean, if you were to sit in a boardroom and go, right, these are the managers available at the moment, I don't think the pool of managers is that good of who you're going to pick from. So I would lean towards, sticking with.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And going with it because it's still early days. You're still going to have a chance to turn it around if you sack Stevie in November. Do you know what I mean? It's so short-sighted to do it now.
Off the foosball and on to the boxing.
Yeah, we're going, aren't we?
Big weekend, yeah, we're going. A few of us going there, ringside support, and obviously all the scouts, especially Paddy Lacey.
Yeah.
Obviously Tash is fighting Paddy, Beefy, Frankie Stringer.
Yeah, look forward to watching Frankie Stringer, by the way. Second pro fight, innit? Fighting out the Rotunda.
So it's all on. I'm most looking forward to Beefy only because you said his opponent's tough, and I've kind of done a little bit of YouTube and on it. Is Egerton was his last fight, was it?
Well, no, not his last fight, but that was the fight that people will remember most when he come over to the UK and staunched them. And
just with Aaron and Liam this week come out and say, look, he wants Eubank after it, or even Ben, or a title shot. Like, he's keen to, so I'm excited to see the performance he's going to put on.
To be fair, McQuinio is not terrible. His last win, Julius Ndongo, was a former world champion, knocked him out in 4 rounds. These aren't Liam, but he's not useless. And it's such a weird banana skin fight because obviously Liam would want the KO clearly, but at what risk? Because this fella can clearly whack.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Joe McNally actually had him in, was his coach for a while.
Really? Yeah.
I think they had a fight together in, I don't quote me on this, but they had a fight together in like Kenya or something.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know him and Liam have sparred actually and stuff like that, so they'll know each other. But yeah, he's one of them things. It's not. It's tough for Liam because what does he really get at? Like, if he wins well, everyone's going to go, you won well.
Yeah, you should have done that.
If it's a bit of a tougher night, which it could be because he's dangerous, yeah, fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? You should have knocked him out. So, this fella's got 22 fights, obviously a few wins. He's only 27. He's obviously got a little bit of experience of around the world, so it's a bit of a tricky fight. I'm actually looking forward to it. The co-main event, Dan Aziz, Shahan Pitters for the light heavyweight British titles, the best fight on the card. Matched up, no scousers in that, but brilliant fight. And then, yeah, as you say, Natasha Jonas, just 2 belts on the line, putting her belt on the line, and also trying to get the WBC.
Hard fight for her?
No, I don't actually think it is, but I could be completely wrong. I haven't watched enough of Bergholt, but 15 wins, 3 KOs. I know there's not many KOs in women's boxing, but I think one time you're going to struggle against Tasha is if you can't keep it off, because she can it, clearly, the way she won last time. She's one of the very few elite level women's fighters who can really like knock you out clean. And I think whether this girl's got enough power to keep it off is but I mean, for Tasha, it's a great opportunity, but she just gotta, you know, I think she'll want to win by knockout in front of her own crowd, I imagine. So be onwards and upwards for her. But mad career Tasha, hasn't she? Like, obviously the Katie Taylor fight, she had a couple of downs, and she could, you know, hold 2 belts by Sunday morning. It'd
be great seeing her in Liverpool as well.
It will. She should get a great reception, like, because she's one of us, isn't she?
So she the like third to last fight?
Yeah, I think she's the co-main.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's a lad me and RJ know well, Nathan Qualis, on the undercard. Was in a great fight, but his opponent pulled out. So he's a cruiserweight, and it, you know, be good to see him. But I think the one everyone will be there for is Adam Azim. Fight under Shane McGuigan, and you know, they think there's been comparisons to like Khan, all this stuff.
Actually, he's one with the brother, isn't he? There's 2 of them, yeah.
Brother Hassan, yeah. But apparently Shane McGuigan rates him as about the best fighter he's ever coached. And when you look at the fighters he's coached in terms of, you know, Frampton, Groves, you know, to watch him in the flesh at 5-0 were pretty special, like.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, obviously old Paddy, because we're going to get him on again, gets a big win, because, you know, he's had a lot going on in his life and stuff.
Yeah, his cousin sadly passed away, and yeah, I think he's like really up for it.
One of life's good guys, Paddy, isn't he? Like,
yeah,
I know
really,
you
really
know,
top lad.
Story,
yeah.
But when, you know, since we've met him, we've obviously stayed in touch, both of us. You know, bought tickets off him for the fight to support him, and just hope that this is another step up for him, you know, heading towards a big fight. But yeah, I can't wait to be in there supporting him.
Did you say Paddy's got it in him to go for the title, English title?
Yeah,
British title?
100%. Because he can whack. I know that was his first knockout, but if you know anything about his amateur career and stuff, he can hit, and at that level, that's what you need. And I don't know whether boxing, I mean, Paddy will 100% won titles, but I think boxing is a way of life for Paddy, isn't it? You know, it keeps him, I know...
Successful businessman, I think that's his kind of bread and butter, isn't it? So.
And, you know, he's really passionate about boxing. He's obviously a, you know, crazily talented sportsman. I mean, I don't know if you've seen a clip of his younger brother play footy.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Sick.
Something in the water.
Playing for England and Man United.
Man United, yeah, he looks pretty special. I know his other brothers at like Barnsley or something, so he's clearly a good player as well. But yeah, I reckon there'd be a lot of frustration, you know, stuff for Paddy to get out in the ring. So be good to see him and then catch up at the end. Great card though. Yeah,
and Frankie Stringer, much on him?
No, to be honest, obviously he's 2-0, but he'd go 2-0 this weekend. But when I watched this first fight, I couldn't help be like impressed. Obviously, he's fighting a guy who's 1-10, which is about standard. But the fella's never been stopped. So obviously at his sort of stage in his career, if you're fighting fellas who haven't been stopped, the one thing to do is be the first to stop them. So yeah, it'd be good to see
the big pressing concern I've got with this boxing this weekend is whether there's going to be a fucking VIP bar with free ale.
I know.
That's the fucking big question.
You've been on the phone to boxing, haven't you?
I'm telling you.
What's happening? Andy Grant's your motivational speaker.
Price I fucking paid, lad. They best be fucking have champagne there.
I know.
Carlin.
Yeah, it will be. Big heads on them like that. But, yeah, it'll be a great night. And obviously, there's loads of good fighters on the undercard, like loads of excitement. So yeah, can't wait.
You got much bets on them for the betting show?
Yeah, we'll have a good go. We had a break last week, didn't we? So we'll have a good go. The only annoying thing is we're in there and it's the UFC's first ever time in Paris.
MMA, it's going to be normal time.
Yeah, the main card's 8 o'clock. MMA was illegal in Paris till about 18 months ago. So now they're going back with obviously big Cyril Gane. He's coming off the back of, you know, not going his way against against Francis Ngannou.
Ngannou, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's fighting your favourite fighter, isn't he? Tai Tuivasa.
Oh, they're drinking out of his shoe.
Crazy bastard. Sorry,
have we heard much on Thingo's injury, by the way? Big
Aspinall.
No, I think he, you know, the diagnosis was, you know, just a year. He's got a good year out. But interestingly, Tai Tuivasa had the choice between. So when he got that win over Derek Lewis, they basically said to him, you can fight Aspinall in London or you can fight Cyril Gane in Paris, and he chose to fight Gane in Paris.
Really, yeah.
So, you know,
reading into that, maybe he kind of knew what prospect Tom was, you know.
Yeah, but I don't know whether he, you know, on the other side of it, he thinks Cyril Gane's coming off. Everyone's saying he's the next big thing. He's coming off, you know, a title shot. If I beat him, I'm next in line. But it's crazy, Ty, because he had obviously some defeats in his earlier career, but you just can't write him off. He gets
those
chinned.
big lads when they bang as well, mate. It's fucking
his elbow on. So Derek Lewis has got the most knockouts in UFC history, and at one point he had hold of Ty and was just punching him in the side of the head, and he just weren't going anywhere. And he gets up and elbows him, knocks him clean out. Like, it's such a dangerous fight for Gane, I think. But obviously, you know,
that Gane's massive though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a scary dude, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he's got something to prove now, because he went into that Ngannou fight and everyone thinking he's the next breed of heavyweights, he's going to dominate and stuff like that, and Ngannou handled him, didn't he? Picked him up, put him on his back, and he had no answers for him. So he's it's a great fight, like, but I'm gutted we're going to be, not gutted, but I might have it on my phone, not gonna lie. The only man sitting ringside watching me phone. But
anything else on the undercard?
Yeah, so you got Robert Whittaker, Marvin Vettori, which is obviously the two fighters who are below Adesanya and Pereira, who are fighting for the belt. So that's a sort of, you know, an eliminator, so to speak. But then we bet on Charles Jourdain a few weeks ago against Shane Burgos, and he's an absolute lunatic. And he got hard done by, and that probably shows the way they put him out so quick. But he's fighting Nathaniel Wood, who's only just fought on UFC London.
Yeah.
So these two are coming off at obviously a quick turnaround, and I reckon that'll be fight of the night, because them two just know one way and one way only, and it's forwards. There's no backward steps in that one. Featherweight, like, I'll be surprised if one of them gets stopped, but I can, you know, it'll just be an absolute bloodbath. That, like, they both absolutely love it. So, but yeah.
One thing that I didn't mention as well, not to have another pop, like, but one thing I didn't mention on the boxing was the biggest walking hypocrite ever, Tyson Fury. You know, I saw a picture this week of him in his Ferrari.
It's a Passat, that one, eh?
Yeah, well, you know, doesn't need money. He fucking needs Rolls Royces and all that. And someone's video, and I think it was his wife, saying enjoying retirement, and he's fucking sitting there looking oversized in this fucking drop top Ferrari, saying, I've worked hard for this. Fuck. You're like, I'm no jealousy whatsoever. I'd have a Ferrari if I'd done what he'd done, but don't come out and be like, you don't fucking need this. I've got a fucking, you know.
Passat, he said, 64 plate.
Was that what it was, Passat?
Yeah, they've improved them Passats, mate. Jesus Christ.
This one looked fucking lovely, this one, like.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I said to you, I don't think that fight with Usyk happens in a month of Sundays, like. I mean, the only...
It's one of matches ordered, no, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you watch it, when Fury was coming back, there was a show in Monaco, and Fury went out to I'll send you the video, actually. Fury went out to support Derek Chisora, because they'd become friends after their fight. And anyway, like, IFL TV are like videoing it, and they're like, they say to they sort of video a cross conversation between Chisora and Fury. Chisora says, "Are you coming back?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm coming back. I owe you that third fight, don't I?" So I don't know whether, you know, Fury's gone. He's obviously seen Derek's coming to the end, and sort of going, you know, he's my mate. If we can build this little bit of a
back and forth,
then
I
can, you know, get him paid and get him sailing off into the sunset, and, you know, for 12 rounds just slap him about a bit. But I mean, I'd let you slap me about if you were giving me that
lad,
much.
you let me, lad. You would have a choice, lad.
Well, yeah, it's all go. Obviously, there's Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall next week in the boxing, which is a great fight. And then we'll speak about Eddie going to
well, the biggest sporting event that's happening really next couple of months to look forward to is me and Jordan had a little go of the first ever Sportscast series.
Oh, you know the insight on this, don't reveal.
Have you told him what happened?
Well,
bits. So you asked for it to know he was the greatest sportsman on the LIV podcast. We both fancied ourselves, and we went down to Roxy's, had a go at table tennis, pool, basketball, bowling, and we're going to have one more to record. So there's going to be shows coming out on Patreon. You can only access it there. If you want to know who the greatest sportsman is, get signed up now. Again, it's £1 a week, loads of incentives, and just to see what happened and the skullduggery that went on, I'd sign up now.
It was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was interesting, yeah.
Right, let's finish on a couple of Sportcast questions.
Go.
Obviously, if you're on Patreon as well, you get a chance to get these in. I've already give you Blake's one. So let me find.
Did he really call me a knob at the end of it?
No. Is that it? Did he?
Oh,
yeah, he said, sorry for the rant and keep up the good work, lads.
Oh, let him off.
He obviously Luke asked for an update on fantasy football. Now the week winners win. We've done that.
Yeah.
Andy and Jord, what is your opinion on influencer boxing?
Not into it.
No.
Nah, hate it.
But
there was one this weekend. KSI was his name.
Fought two people in one night.
Yeah.
One of them was a pro boxer who got dropped 7 times.
I just think it just feels to me like schoolyard stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like
white collar boxing.
It just feels like popularity contests. Not really like it's. I'm not into it personally.
Interestingly, though, it was the first time the O2 Arena sold out boxing since Pro Grade Taylor.
I just think that's how fucked up society is, though.
Yeah, I know. It is.
It's like when we speak about the podcast. You know, we had a 97-year-old D-Day veteran sit in that chair, tell us what it was like storming the beaches at Normandy. It got about 10,000 downloads, whatever. Me and you talking about a Tesco meal deal gets about fucking 100,000. That's what fucked up society is.
I know.
And I think that's just what boxing's like, you know. The Canelos, the Callum Smiths of the world, the fucking all of them. And there's just this fucking school popularity contest of, I've got 1 million followers on Instagram, I'm more popular than you, I can fucking batter you, and not into it.
No, I'm not, but I think it can coexist as long as it's not called boxing. If they want
to
do
call it something else, yeah.
But interestingly, Jake Paul's fighting Anderson Silva, which is a fucking, I'll give him a bit of credit for that. Anderson Silva's a beast. One for you, because mine's just proper standard, because I was in Istanbul when I was 13. What's the best atmosphere you've ever been to at an away game?
What, an away game?
Yeah.
What, as in like a hostile crowd type thing? And
yeah,
just like
one where to be honest, I've been a bit short-sighted there. The best atmosphere I've ever been involved in is your man Rondon was involved. I went to Liverpool versus Newcastle away, and I was sat in the nice seats on the side. And when Newcastle scored and equalised against us, I've not heard the noise like that.
I've been in Newcastle when Laurent Robert banged in one. Oh no, it might have been Shearer, and that whole Shearer around Newcastle's ground sounded good.
Yeah.
I've been in PSG away, which was a great atmosphere, and we got beat 2-1. And I've been in Atletico Madrid's new ground, one where we won the Champions League when we got beat by them 1-0. That was a bit tasty as well.
I'd love to see a Serie A game, you know, where someone scores and you go, Gonzalo, Higuain.
Yeah, it's good.
I'd love to do that.
But I think like finals and that at Wembley and that are obviously decent as well, aren't they? But
we've got 2 more. We're going to finish on who's our all-time Prem 11. Have you done your team?
No.
Can you do it in your head?
Yeah.
Okay, I've done my team. This one is interesting because I have thought this, and there was a bit of a back and forth with people on the comments. How do you think Celtic or Rangers would fare in a top flight down in England? Scottish football has a reputation of being a farmers' league. However, is that slur misjudged off the back of both Gerrard and Rodgers now struggling in the current season?
I don't so much though think it's about Gerrard and Rodgers. I just think it's, you know, the quality of players, and I also think it's the kind of week in week out pressures. Do you know what I mean? It's just a big whole bigger different scenario. I honestly think if they were in the Prem, they would be like a bit like a decent Southampton, like a shit Leicester, decent Southampton type kind of 12th, 13th kind of team.
I genuinely think both of them would challenge for that Conference League, and the reason for I do think they'd do that is because they would have such an advantage at home compared to the teams around them. The atmosphere that both of them grounds would create. I'm not saying they get in the Champions League by any stretch, but I think when it gets down to like 7th, 8th or something like that, when they start to play the teams around them, they'd have such advantage because of the following that they'd have. I know they don't win games, but it does influence games.
I think like if I was going to compare, I'd say Leicester. You know, like Leicester was so nearly the last couple of seasons and getting stuff, but just didn't get there. I think they'd be like Leicester. I don't think they'd do it, you know, week in, week out, and I think it proves that in Europe when they play.
I would love to see it. I genuinely
but if that happened though, it'd kill Scottish football.
Yeah, it would. And you know, I'm not really that sorry for any Scottish listeners, but
not that ass though.
I would quite like to have them all there.
Still honest.
Might as well just say it as it is, won't you?
Yeah.
Right, do you want me to do my Prem 11 so you can do yours? Because the question is to see how many players we get in common.
Okay, we'll do it in position. Go one at a time.
Okay,
position.
sound.
I'll say mine since you've already got yours.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the greatest goalie of the Prem is Peter Cech.
My man.
Really?
Just nailed it there.
There you go.
So I've gone 4-3-3. So we're all going 4-3-3.
Okay.
What about you?
Tim Howard.
You're out. You're not getting any more. Right back.
Right back. Right back.
Do you know what he's doing now? I've seen Twitter. Don't say it. Trent.
You know what? I think he'd you'd have to say in recent years, mate, he'd be giving himself. I think if he maybe had a few more years, you could maybe throw him in, or he'd at least have a more solid argument. Do you know who's like not one who you'd say, but like someone like Gary Neville?
I like
Do you know what I mean? I want to go with him because I think he's like just solid.
For years, didn't he?
Years.
That's it.
At that level, you know, won everything. Yeah, well, fuck it, I'm going Gary Neville.
I went Neville.
Did you?
Yeah. Based on longevity.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was the greatest player of all time, but to do it in the Prem, I know he played in great teams and that, but still, he was like, a consistent performer until like 2008, and he got in the team in what, like 98?
Yeah.
I
Barely ever injured now, is he?
I think left back, I think it's pretty obvious, Ashley Cole.
Yeah.
It's got to be,
No even questions.
No.
Followed by Leighton Baines. 2 centre-halves.
I'd go for... Not so much because, I mean, don't get me wrong, he was great in that, but I think I always look at Carragher. He's someone, not Carragher for the player, but Carragher's opinion. Carragher like rates John Terry so highly, and although obviously as a fan you see how good he is, I think for someone to say who's been there, seen it, done it, so I'd probably go Terry and also Virg.
1 for 2. I went Terry and Rio Ferdinand.
Listen, Rio was great, wasn't he? But I think
I'm not going to lie, there was a lot of it was between Ferdinand and Virg van Dijk.
Don't know, right? We got what's that?
We got
4 out
goalie
of
and 3 out of. So the 3 in midfield we've gone for now. So we're going to go for someone who's sitting in front of the back 4.
Do you know who maybe people might have forgot, like the younger listeners, if you like, but this isn't the pick I'm going for, but someone like who was brilliant, and no one ever saw how great he was because he'd done a job that didn't really get looked upon, like Makelele.
Yeah, he created that role like Kante in that.
He did, didn't he? He was just so good doing that. And you know what? I will go for him actually, because that time when the role wasn't really sexy, and he played in that team when Chelsea would, they were great.
I went Paddy Vieira. Just think, leader, dragged. Literally, I know they had Henry, but dragged an Arsenal team. Could do everything. Could go forward, backwards, dominate, tackle. Yeah, wasn't scared of a fight.
He's unbelievable, Vieira.
And it was between him and Keane, but I think Vieira just comes out on top. And then go on.
Stevie's got to be in there.
Yeah, I think no point talking about it. We both got Stevie in midfield. He's better than Lampard and Scholes.
Yeah, and you know the greatest argument for that is though, and again, bomb carrot everything he says, but I think it's the greatest argument. If you put Gerrard in Scholes' Man United, right? United would still win everything they did. You take Gerrard and put it in that Lampard, Chelsea would still win everything. You take Lampard or Scholes and put that in that Liverpool team, there's no guarantee we're winning the Champions League, no guarantee we're winning FA Cups, League Cups.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
So yeah, I'd have Makelele, Gerrard, and I'd go for someone. It's hard, isn't it, to think of like the current Prem and then like legends back in the day and that.
Yeah.
Do you know I fucking loved Perez for Arsenal? I thought he was great, but just on pure how amazing he is right now, De Bruyne. Gerrard, De Bruyne, Makelele be my midfield 3.
My third midfielder was David Silva.
Yeah, I need to.
Longevity.
I hated no lad only because I met him once and he was a prick.
Was he?
Yeah. I asked for
JJ Okocha.
I asked for a selfie and he went, hurry up.
Did he?
Yeah, cheeky bastard.
Heavy that.
Hurry up.
Did you still get it?
You know what, I did and I hate myself for it. I hate myself for not saying nah then, it's alright.
But yeah, I just thought he was one of the best players to watch outside of being, don't meet your heroes situation. I just thought he was so influential. And he come to the Prem in a time when everyone was saying players like him couldn't come to the Prem.
Don't think he got enough credit until he was on the way out, I thought.
Because he went from a winger, then he went into centre mid. And people don't often appreciate how physical he was. He never got bullied, ever.
No.
For his size and stuff in a Prem game, he never got outworked or outbullied. And I think that's a testament to him. So yeah, I went Vieira, Gerrard, David Silva. You went
Makelele, Gerrard and De Bruyne.
De Bruyne's right up there, like he's fucking close.
I think for the front three, everyone thinks you've got to have Shearer in, because listen, Shearer is a beast. However, I am the biggest fan ever of Rooney. So mine would be Henry, Rooney and Salah.
Mine was, it's fucking good front three that. Mine is Thierry Henry, nailed on the right hand side. On the left hand side, or the right side?
Sorry, yeah,
right,
only on the left.
Salah, just because of his goals. You can't.
Two out of three are the same one,
Can't leave Didier this time.
Mine.
Drogba.
Yeah,
just
to be in.
It was more like
I think the whole
it's more impact, but the one who was running him close was Ruud van Nistelrooy.
I love Van Nistelrooy, lad. I won so much money in first goal. Every bet went up like fivers, first goal.
I think he was the one that
I started off getting 20 quid returns, and then in the end I was getting like £8 returns. He was just going like so short on the odds. He was that good.
He was the one. I think he was close, but I just think Drogba, like he, on his day, had everything. Right foot, left foot, header, hold up play. Could like do a Maradona turn if you really wanted them to. Put it in from 30.
I think Rooney though, lad, like
the only thing with Rooney is
second top goal scorer.
The reason is, and it's mad because he is the second top goal scorer, I still don't think he reached his potential.
No, he probably didn't.
But I think Rooney's best years he was 23, 24.
Would you have Salah over Rooney?
Yeah.
Lad, he's every season, lad, he's fucking that one-hit wonders lasted about 5 years with Salah, mate.
That's the only thing. But he's under pressure this year. But
if he doesn't do it this year, then does he still stay in front of Rooney?
That's what I mean. It's a tough one, isn't it?
I think when talking about it, it is consistency, isn't it, about those years? And I think if I'd sat down, it might change slightly, but just off the top of my head, the players I think, wow, then I don't think that many teams are beating
good
them.
Teams, good teams.
Manager?
Best manager, Alex Ferguson. Best manager to ever live.
It's
hard to look over Fergie, isn't it, really, though?
Alex Ferguson's the best manager to ever live.
I've met him once in a box at Aintree, and he was someone who has got like just an aura about him. I don't get nervous speaking to anyone, but I was a bit like,
do you know the best thing about him, right? It was like he never had to show his football knowledge. Do you know what I mean? He commanded that much respect that like he could just come into it, and it was never about, you see sometimes Klopp, even Pep, they talk about like half spaces this, half space. He was just so like to the point. Set his teams up. He went to like Champions League final with John O'Shea in centre mid, and that was all because he made John O'Shea feel like he was Pirlo. And it's just, I don't know, for me
it'd have to be Fergie. I would, obviously I'm not going to say Klopp, but I do think like Klopp of this, I do rate Klopp higher than Pep, just because of the job and that they've come in to do. But overall I don't think you could look past. I think first Mourinho would maybe be a close.
I just think Mourinho, what he did at United and Tottenham and that, when you look back now, some job there. I know everyone's saying he's on the way out and that, but
what he's doing at Roma, by
to win the trophy with that United team and be up there challenging,
he won 2, didn't he, I think?
Yeah, he won Europa Cup and that, didn't he? And challenging for the league and that. And like the things he said about all the players from Tottenham, you look like Dele Alli and that now playing in Mosquitoes.
To come true.
Bang on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was a great manager, Mourinho. I think his personality probably went before him towards like the back end of his time in England. But one that we'll talk about next week, because I think we've done a first stint here, the form of Chris Smalling in Serie A. Who would have seen that? He was getting slated in England, and he's a god over there. They love him. They love him.
There you go.
It's mad, innit?
Life in the old dog,
but when you talk about World Cups and that, no one's mentioning someone who's playing week in, week out in Serie A.
Maguire's already fucking nailed on there, isn't he?
How did I get here?
I was telling one of the lads last night. Little shout out to Joe, who was with last night after the match. I had a pint with him, and I told him the Harry Maguire story. He was like, "Fuck off," and I showed him the DMs, and he was like, "Fucking hell!" Fucking hilarious.
So, great show, mate.
Yeah, enjoyed that, Jay. Have you enjoyed it, lad?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
See you again next week, lad.
Off the topic.
Make it a bit more of a regular. So nice one for everyone listening. Hope you have a boss weekend. And again, if you don't want me, what I do love, we get people every week sign up to Patreon, and the first message is, I'm only sign up so Andy can't call me Minge Bag. So if you don't want to get called Minge Bag by me, get signed up. Again, you're going to have the Sportscast series coming soon, all of our tips at the weekend, the extra show on a Wednesday, and you're supporting the boys. Nice one. Have a boss weekend.
Cheers.